Hey there! Welcome back to another episode of Celluloid Nation. I probably fucked up the pronunciation of that, apparently, according to one of my subscribers who enjoyed the podcast. But forgive me, it's a work in progress for me. I gotta unlearn how to say it because
Celluloid.
I've said it that way for my entire life, and it's apparently wrong. So as you can hear, I'm joined once again by my good friend Matt. I'm really glad he's here because I don't think this podcast is the same without him.
Thank you. Welcome to episode 2 of Celluloid Nation.
Talking about a bunch of movie news as well as talking about some Blu ray releases, and we're going to talk about some films that we feel should be on Blu ray but for some reason aren't, and why. And we're also going to rant on JJ Abrams and his dumbass comments. Uh, but first off, let's actually talk about some movies that I saw. Um, I recently checked out a comedy I was really looking forward to because I thought it looked like a clever comedy. It looked like a movie that wasn't just ass and tits and drugs and stupid shit like ass beer and so on and so forth. It looked like it had potential to be a comedy that is more than just crass and cringe. And that film was Game Night. And I saw that Thursday. I saw it on Thursday night with a good friend of mine. And I have to say, it really honestly did not disappoint. I really enjoyed the film. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it was a movie that was a return to form for the two directors. The two directors who did this, they did Vacation before this. That was a pretty big stumble. I can safely say this is not a Vacation, and this is not a Horrible Bosses 2 scenario. And yeah, there were some jokes that were in the trailer that weren't as funny when I saw the movie, but there were plenty of other moments in the film that were not in the trailer that made me laugh. I felt that it definitely did work with the R rating well, but then again, it wasn't just crass humor. There were some crass jokes, but it wasn't just that. There was more humor in it that wasn't just crass jokes, which was a big selling factor for me from the trailer. And thankfully, the movie has a lot of moments like that as well. There's a lot of movie references, so if you're a movie buff, like you're gonna get a kick out of it. Um, there's this creepy neighbor who is a cop, and they mention they call him RoboCop, which put a smile on my face. You know, got a RoboCop over here. So you know that was fun, and there was plenty of other moments that I thought were definitely enjoyable. The cast was a real standout. Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams are a wonderful couple, and Rachel McAdams is a total spitfire personality and spunk and charisma. She is really a sight for sore eyes in this movie, and the rest of the cast does their jobs well too. And I thought the direction was good. I thought there was a lot of stylish moments in it, and Cliff Martinez's score was interesting because it's mostly techno and it's like retro techno. Kind of, it sounds like something you'd hear in Tron or from Daft Punk. And in a comedy, you think like that doesn't really fit, but it does surprisingly. And I thought it was actually a pretty cool score. And the script is really witty and clever. There's always different twists and stuff in it, and there were quite a few that I did not see coming. So, um, got to give the film big kudos for that. It's not the greatest comedy in the world. It's not the greatest movie ever, but I would have to say it's my favorite film in 2018 for sure, so far. And ultimately, it's a movie that I was looking forward to that thankfully was not a letdown. And I really do hope more people go check it out, especially if they like the trailer. And if you like films like Clue or The Game with Michael Douglas, or even the April Fool's Day, the original April Fool's Day, like the kind of way that some things unfold reminds me a lot of that film. So
Interesting.
that was an interesting direction to take things, and I really appreciated it. So yeah, it's a comedy that has a likable cast, which goes a long way. All of these cast members are likable. None of them are total assholes or so on and so forth. They all have their quirks. They all have their things about them that are enjoyable, at least for me personally. And yeah, it was a fun movie, and I really do recommend people check it out. I will probably post a much longer, more in-depth review in the future. But until then, those are my quick thoughts on game night. The next film I'm going to discuss is Black Panther. Now, I've already talked about Black Panther. I reviewed Black Panther already on my channel. And there's been some comments from some people uh, who were fans of it that were polite. In fact, most of them were polite. In fact, most of the comments have been polite and understanding. I've even got comments from black people that disagreed with me with some aspects, but were respectful about it, which is really nice to see. But there were a couple that were just ridiculous and really did a really did irritate me and stick in my craw, accusing me of being racist because I didn't love the movie, saying dumb things like you're a Trump bot, you're a racist Trump bot. This movie doesn't need your white approval, blah de blah blah blah. And that's one of the reasons why I was leery of seeing the movie to begin with, or even recording the review, because I was like, it doesn't matter if I like the film. It doesn't matter if I was pretty positive on the movie for the most part. Just because I said things like, hey, Black Panther is not the first black superhero movie. Hey, Black Panther is not the first big budget black superhero film featuring a black star. It isn't the first big budget superhero film with a cast that's majorly white. I mean black, which I fucked up there. But I mean, it's because my brain is just going at like 50,000 miles an hour, just trying to figure out all this shit, because it's just it's discombobulating, because it's like, what did I do wrong? It's like, is this and this is a movie that, oh, I can't say it has any flaws. I can't dare say that, because if I do that, I'm racist. It's ridiculous. It's a get out of jail free card that no movie deserves. And this also ties into JJ Abrams' stupid comments about The Last Jedi and people who didn't like the film, because this is the type of attitude and argument that really, really annoys me. Because like I said, it's a get out of jail free card for people. They could just be like, "Oh, you didn't like the movie? Well, you're racist. You didn't like the film? Well, you're sexist." No, I didn't. And even if you liked the movie, well, you're still racist because you didn't give it 5 out of 5 stars. You didn't give it 2 thumbs up, and you said it had some flaws, and you said the plot wasn't engaging. Well, the plot wasn't engaging. You didn't find the plot engaging because it featured black people. It was about black people and their plight or whatever. I'm like, no, I just didn't find it that engaging. It has nothing to do with the color of the character's skin in this movie. But this is one of those things where it's an argument you can't win. You can't win this argument because these people will never be pleased no matter what. Oh no! I said these people. Oh shit! And I'm not talking about just exclusively black people, of course. Nobody, hopefully, doesn't think that way. It's crazy that you have to like walk on eggshells with this kind of shit. You can't
Well,
say something as generic as these people, because then someone's gonna be like, "Oh, you're a racist."
to be honest, the day and age we live in, even someone like Jerry Seinfeld is too risque, which is insane. For those who don't know, I mean, Jerry Seinfeld is like one of the not, I mean, not rough and tumble comedians.
Yeah.
Even he would do shows and it's like, oh, you're too much, you're too raw. Jerry Seinfeld is too raw, and it makes me think, what would people like George Carlin, Richard Pryor, people of that ilk, if they were doing stand up, they were with us today, what they could say about so many things.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like with every movie, it's an excuse.
Hmm.
if there happened to be a fan, and even though you enjoyed the film, I watched the review, you liked the film, you just have problems with the villain.
Yes.
You have problems with the maybe would you say a bit of the pacing,
Yeah, the bit
the
of the
length?
pacing and definitely the film's tone. It's trying to be a serious movie at times with a lot of serious themes, and then it's got stupid jokes like "What are those?" and Claw singing
But at the same
"What
time,
Is Love" by Hadaway. So yeah,
I watched your review. You were entertained by it. You
yeah,
liked it.
I
You gave
did.
praise to the cast, especially the supporting roles
Yeah.
under Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, if you should be able to watch any film because every film has a fan and a non-fan.
Yep.
I don't care what movie you pick. You can pick Titanic. You can pick Avatar. Guess what? Not everyone loves Avatar, even though it's the most successful film ever. Not everyone loves Titanic, even though it's the most successful film ever
Not
and won
everybody
Best
loves the
Picture.
Avengers.
Not everyone loves the original Star Wars. There are people who don't like Aliens with James Cameron. You've seen that in
Oh yeah,
Rants
I've
of
seen
Alien
that.
3.
A lot of them are diehard Alien 3 fans.
And they're not fan aliens, and we just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
To me, and maybe to Mike, I think Aliens is one of the best films out there.
There's people
It's
who
just
think
how it
the
is,
RoboCop
folks,
remake is better than the original.
and
I
we agree
disagree
to disagree.
wholeheartedly with those people, but there are people out there that feel that way.
And they want to get in your, they want to get, I don't know, they just want to cause a ruckus, and
It's the cult of outrage.
it is. Everyone's outraged. It's always about butting heads. Everyone's outraged. If you step your toe outside, it's an outrage. If you do it, anything, if you say anything, if you do, it's it's ridiculous.
It is
It's,
ridiculous. I mean, the whole stuff with the Rotten Tomato scores and stuff like that for Black Panther. And yes, Rotten Tomatoes is one of those things where it's an aggregator that isn't even really that reliable in the first place. Because if you have a film that gets like a 6 out of 10 rating, they're still gonna list it as a positive, fresh film on their tomato meter.
but the
But
thing is, you'd have two reviews that are 6 out of 10, and one's a fresh and one's a rotten
yeah, exactly. So it's not
on a
really
different
that
movie.
it's not really that reliable. But I still see a lot of instances where I feel like it's deja vu with the ratings. It reminds me of what happened when The Dark Knight Rises came out, when there were all these fanboys who were getting
And not
nuts, and they were
and not
sending.
and not fans of the movie. There's a
No,
difference.
yeah, there's a difference. They were sending death
Death
threats to
threats.
certain critics and things like
And
that
to
if they
me,
dared give it a bad review.
I got death threats. I got quite a few death threats because I didn't like Dark Knight Rises, so I got that. And Prometheus.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think I might
I
have
got
gotten a
death
few
threats.
too. So, but yeah, it's one of those things that's just ridiculous. And because of that, there were a lot of critics who just they gave the film really positive notes. They gave it really high marks.
Maybe maybe they really enjoyed it.
Yeah, maybe they really did enjoy it, but some of the reviews that I've read reads of I didn't want to really be honest about something because I'm actually afraid of these keyboard warriors and what they, and their death threats and whatever. Um,
Or
and
they're afraid of politics of Hollywood that
well, yeah,
maybe,
especially
well, you
nowadays.
know
I mean,
what?
look what
You
happened with
can't.
Bright. Bright comes out and it gets accused of being racist by all these different publications.
Which I disagree. I mean, if well, critics didn't like Alien Nation either, but
No,
it's Alien Nation and a different take on it, and I like both movies.
yeah, I do too, and I agree with Matt when he said before, like if it was so racist, why would Will Smith even sign up for the film?
And why would he be coming back for the sequel?
Exactly.
And it's the same director he worked with on Suicide Squad, so I
Yeah,
mean, that's now going to be three movies because the Bright Two.
yeah.
I don't racist.
People just aren't, they don't like to use their heads sometimes. I think they operate by emotion instead of
And the stuff I've heard is, well, it's not because it's a person who's a black lead in the film. It's the fact that it's a big budget movie that's a superhero film that has an all black cast.
yeah, Black Panther.
And I'm like, so I just care if it's a good movie or not.
Yeah,
And the
that's the
trailers
main
look
thing for me
mediocre to
too.
me.
I don't really feel that the film should get all this praise and accolades and 5 out of 5 stars just because of that. I mean,
If you think it's a great movie,
that's
cool. I mean,
fine. I have no issue with that.
I haven't, yeah, Grant, I haven't seen the film. I know. I see the trailers. I've seen reviews. It all looked lame.
I
It looked
definitely
like Black
think
Panther didn't do shit.
he doesn't
It
do that
seems.
much. To be perfectly honest, it seems
I saw
like,
detailed reviews, and that's like saying you have to love Ghostbusters because all the women in it.
well,
No,
there's people who were like that though.
I mean no. It's
Like what's
whether
going
you.
on with the movie Annihilation? There are people out there saying that movie-going audiences are potentially sexist because they're not supporting Annihilation.
I never heard that. Really?
I'm
That's
pretty.
really
I
happening?
guarantee that's happening from some people. Totally, 100%.
It's just it's base it on the film. If you love the film, great, but base it on the film, not of
Yeah, I
any
don't understand the virtue
political
signaling. Yeah,
crap.
I just don't get it. It's a new
Ta-
thing to me. It's a totally new thing to me over the past few years.
It is, and it's annoying. I mean, movies are movies. I mean, enjoy the movie or dislike the movie, but do it because you enjoy the movie, dislike the movie. I
If you want to
mean,
give it credit for breaking new ground with having an all-black cast and portraying Africa in a positive light, that's fine. I think that's a great thing, and I have no issue with that. But that alone should not automatically make the movie great. That to me is bullshit. I'm sorry. There's more to a film than that. There's more to a film than just that kind of thing. And maybe that's just how I feel about movies in general. If you feel differently, that's all right, but I definitely disagree with that. I do. I don't agree with that. I think you need to look at a film as more than just that. Give it kudos, give it credit for that. That's fine. That's admirable. That's good. But don't just be like, yeah, well, that by default that makes the movie great. I don't understand that viewpoint.
I don't care about the remake of Coming to America. That's my one joke, folks. But come on, you should joke on everything. You have a teen, you have a prince. Yes, fuck you too. But I mean, just relax, folks. Just a
Yeah.
movie. An overhyped movie, in my opinion.
Well, I agree. I think it's definitely a little bit overhyped because this is the highest rated Marvel film to date, one of the highest rated superhero films ever made, and I really don't think it's that good. It's a fun, entertaining movie. It has some good things about it, and I do like the message it has.
I
But
don't remember.
I
I don't even
actually like
remember.
the Meteor Man more, and I'm probably gonna have people throwing rocks or meteors at me for saying that, but I like the charm of that film. It reminds me of the Superman films of Christopher Reeve, and I like the message it had, and I thought it was a lot more inspiring, and at least to me, and definitely a lot more grounded in reality, which is kind of crazy considering there's so many kind of unrealistic, ridiculous stuff in that movie. But with Black Panther, it's like this is a fantasy vision of what would happen if Africa uh, was a strong, powerful continent, which is cool. And honestly, I wish that it was in better shape than it is right now, because there's no country or people who live in a country that deserve to
But
be
we
in that
think of
kind
that
of
with every
situation.
country.
Yeah, exactly.
With China, with everybody.
Yeah.
Our country is even
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Our country is even that. It's like this. Go watch the speech by Jeff Daniels from the
Yeah,
TV show,
yeah.
the news. I
The
forget the actual.
newsroom.
The newsroom, great speech.
It is a great speech, and that's like a few years old, but it still rings true. America is not the greatest country anymore.
Wanted to be,
Yeah,
to be proud of the nation. Baby steps.
yeah, for sure. But going back
But
to the Meteor Man,
I haven't seen the Meteor Man.
I feel that the character of Jefferson Reed, played by Robert Townsend, he's a substitute teacher. He's just a normal guy who ends up having these superpowers. And even when he loses these powers, he's still willing to sacrifice himself for his community and to die doing the right thing. That's a hero. And I'm not saying Black Panther isn't a hero. It's just I can look up to Black Panther and his ideals, but someone like Jefferson Reed, I can be like, hey, there's Jefferson Reeds all over the place, and how many African kings do you know, or Wakandan kings do you know in your neighborhood? There aren't very many kings
Coming to
that I know
America.
of.
No, I don't.
But
But I mean,
substitute
people would say, well,
teachers, totally.
what about Captain America? There's not like we know what Captain America is
No, but
either.
Captain America is similar in the fact that he was this scrawny guy who had this never say die attitude.
I
Um,
just mentioned that just people bring up because
but yeah,
Captain
Black
America's a
Panther, like I
favorite.
said, I can definitely see a lot of ideals in that character that I look up to, and it's a character. Both characters are characters that I think people of all races, ethnicities, and uh, orientations or whatever can look up to in different ways. I just find it annoying that, well, not necessarily annoying. I find it too bad that uh, films like The Meteor Man and Blank Man and Blade and Blade 2 and Hancock, and they're getting ignored or pushed aside to prop up Black Panther uh, as like the end all be all black superhero movie. And it's like there were films that came before it. I really do feel you should pay respect to those movies. And
Revisionist
yeah,
history.
and it has nothing to do with the quality of the films either. Like I see a lot of comments, well, those movies weren't as good as Black Panther. That's not my argument. I'm not arguing
Well,
which one is better, because that's all up to one's personal opinion.
yeah, it's all
It's
subjective.
all subjective. But either
But in your
way,
personal opinion, would you think those movies are better than Black Panther?
I would say
Eh,
after watching Blank Man again, I would say it's equal with Black Panther. I like Meteor Man a little bit more than Black Panther. I definitely feel Blade and Blade 2 are better movies for me personally.
And you have the
Uh,
right to that opinion.
yeah,
Was this all going on when Luke Cage had his TV show?
no, not really.
So, okay. People didn't answer that question. Where was all this when Luke
But I
Cage
mean,
had
it's
his
not
TV
just
show?
superheroes; it's other black actors in films that had black men in big roles. I mean, what about Wesley Snipes and his string of movies like Passenger 57
I
and
like Murder at
Murder
1600.
1600?
I like Denzel Washington and Deja Vu, Taking a Pelham 123, Man on
Yeah,
Fire,
Michael J.
Virtuosity.
White. Yeah, Spawn was not a good movie, but he was not the problem in that movie. He was actually
No.
one of the best things about it.
And I like Blood and Bone. I like, what was it? Black Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Predator 2, of course. I always mention that with Danny Glover, Mike Harrigan,
Fuck
badass
yourself.
motherfucker. You're cutting off my dick, shoving up my ass. Eddie Murphy, The Golden Child,
Yeah.
Metro. Thing very underrated. Got a lot of hate.
Beverly Hills Cop, which was for many years the most successful R-rated film of all time.
Bad Boys 1 and 2. And I know some would say, well, it's not about having a black lead, it's the fact that it's a black cast and a big budget movie
The Meteor
and they're
Man had a
marketing.
black cast. The majority of the cast was black in that movie. Yeah, it was a bomb, but that's still the case of that movie. No, it didn't cost $200 million, but if it was greenlit now, it probably would have a higher budget than 30 million. Back then, 30 million was still a pretty sizable amount of money in 1993, especially for a film from MGM.
Well, you look at the cast of Predator 2, that's very progressive.
Yeah,
Maria Conchita Alonso, Ruben Blades, and Danny Glover's your lead.
yeah.
Robert Davi. I mean,
Definitely.
there's other movies out there for. That's the thing. There's a history of movies, and cool if they want to have their thing too. Cool, but there's there is a history to it. There's a history of movies, and fine if you love the movie, that's fine. I have no interest in seeing it. Trailers didn't interest me. This whole hoopla, overhyped. Usually, overhyped movies of any sort annoy me. That's just how it is. And there's no reason why people should be called racist because they like or dislike a movie. It's, it's just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it is. That I can't really say anything else on that matter, other than that's the perfect way to say that. The perfect way to kind of end the discussion on Black Panther and the controversy surrounding the criticism and all of that and so forth and so on. And once again, I got to reiterate, I liked the movie. Okay, I didn't hate the
I know
film.
you liked it. Imagine if you hated it.
Oh wow, man, I would have really gotten raked over the coals.
But you liked it. I mean, like what you like, dislike what you dislike, and that's it.
Don't be a dick. And that
In the words
applies
of
to every.
Vin, in the words of Vin Diesel's Triple X, don't
Yeah,
be a dick,
that
dick.
applies to people of all races, ethnicities, and gender identities. Applies to everybody. Just don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick like JJ Abrams.
That transitions into our next topic. JJ Abrams, who, after this recent interview, he has lost every bit of respect that I had for him. Like I have no respect left for this guy.
I had almost zilch. Now it's zilch.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those
Miserable.
things where I don't know what happened. Either he got possessed by the spirit of Kathleen Kennedy, or she has him by strings. She has him on strings and is puppeting him around, or she has her hand up his ass and she's just puppeting his mouth. Or that's just literally how he feels, or he's just too legit to clit. And
You stole my line.
oh no, I added it. I switched it up. I remixed it. He's too legit the clit, and he just can't stop licking Kathleen Kennedy's clit and sucking her off because he has to get a job or has to keep his job or something. I don't know. It's one of those things that why would you even remotely think about saying something like this, especially after the PR apocalypse that was Paul Feig's Ballbusters. That was just what, a year or two ago? Like it wasn't even that long ago when that happened.
2016.
Yeah, it was not that long ago.
No,
So you would
and
think you would learn from that. Nope. And you're not going to help. You're not going to get back the Star Wars fans who were pissed off and upset at how the Last Jedi handled things and just destroyed a lot of the goodwill that the franchise had built up to this point. You're not going to get them back with comments like this.
well, they're going to have to show if they believe what they believe when Solo comes out. If they go see it or they don't.
Well,
I mean,
I'm
you
not
can
seeing
always,
it. If I do see it, it's not money out of my pocket.
if I ever see it, it'd be for free.
Yeah.
But how many people are going to follow that? Or just not see it at all? Or it's
I think
like,
there's a good amount of fans who will not see that movie because they really weren't that into it to begin with, and the teaser didn't help.
but what exactly did J.J. Abrams say, for those who
So
don't
this
know?
is what JJ Abrams said. Okay, in an interview with IndieWire, the Force Awakens director said that people who are threatened by women can find Star Wars to be an easy target, and that anyone can find a problem with anything in the internet age. I will agree with JJ Abrams when it comes to that statement. And what's totally ironic about that statement is that he's doing the same thing here.
Well, I mean, you have you could
Talk
say
about the pot calling the kettle black.
you have billions of people who all have different opinions on something, of course.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Like I said, everything has a fan and non-fan. It could
And
be
I'm
something
glad that's the case. Don't confuse me with somebody who wants everything to be one way or everyone to feel the same way about things. I don't want that at all because different opinions are what makes this world interesting and what keeps it that way. So I'm all for that. But this kind of shit, I am not for because this goes far beyond just someone's personal opinion. This is fucking whack job bullshit that people pull out of their ass, and this is an argument that gets perpetuated lately that just pisses me off because it doesn't do anything to really help diversity in cinema or film. It doesn't do anything to really help true equality. Their idea of equality, I guess, is that just if there's women in films, just love it, eat it up, sit down, shut up, and like it. That's not true equality.
No,
So, this is his quote. Star Wars is a big galaxy, and you can sort of find almost anything you want to in Star Wars. Yeah, there's a lot of different things you can find in the film and in the franchise. A lot of
see
shit
that
lately, but
you see that
okay.
with you say that with almost every movie though.
Yeah,
The music, the characters, this character,
yeah.
that set, that line of dialogue.
If you are someone who feels threatened by women and needs to lash out against them, you can probably find an enemy in Star Wars. You can probably look at the first movie that George Lucas did, Star Wars A New Hope, and say that Leia was too outspoken or she was too tough. Anyone who wants to
Nope.
find a problem with anything can find the problem. The internet seems to be made for that. See, he
But
just
no
came
one
across as being extremely defensive here, which is the totally wrong approach to make. Now,
but
if he just
no one has done that. I've never heard a single person say, "Hey, Terry Fisher, fought Princess Leia,"
yeah, I know.
and the
Yeah.
original Star. No one has ever said that. How about you actually talk about? Okay, if you have an issue with people who are pissed off about that, okay, but you're making that seem as if that's the only
Yeah, see,
thing.
yeah, that's the issue here. That's what
What
happened
about
with Ballbusters and Paul Feig and the cast for that movie. They latched on to the small but outspoken group of genuinely sexist jerkwads who left comments and were upset at the casting and all of this. But there is also an arguably a much larger contingency of people who aren't sexist at all, who just didn't like the way that things went with The Last Jedi. Just thought it was a poorly written film,
how
and
about
a lot of the issues with that people had with it really weren't just tied into the female characters. Part of it was, I mean, when you have poorly written characters like Rose Tico, who is basically just a fangirl for Poe, and says what really
well
stupid
Finn?
lines of dialogue. Finn,
Finn,
filler, Phil, Finn. Well,
filler Finn.
yeah, well, that's basically what his storyline was.
That's part of the thing. Okay,
Finn.
if you want to Jar Jar Abrams, if you want to bring this up, how about you talk about, hey, how come all the men are stupid idiots and weak ass pussies? How
Yeah, how come you
about you bring?
turned Finn, who was a strong character in the first movie? Well, I mean, this isn't JJ's
We're
fault. This
trying,
is Ryan.
trying. Well, yeah, I mean, he was stronger than this one,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I thought he was a fairly strong character, especially compared to his character in The Last Jedi, where the first shot is him smacking his head on something and slipping and falling like it's a joke, like he slipped on a banana peel.
Yeah, it's a Three Stooges skit or something. I mean, why don't you talk about the drop storylines from your movie? Why don't you talk
Yeah,
about the drop storylines within the movie, the subplots that go nowhere, subplots that take 40 minutes and lead to nothing?
yeah, that's the whole
Or
thing
how
with
about you talk
Rose
about
and
the,
Finn. Yeah, all that seemed like it was an excuse for the film to just say animal abuse is bad. You know that, right? Yeah, I know that. I don't know of anybody who would be watching this movie that would not know that.
We know what else is bad? Bringing Benicio del Toro with you, getting caught, and then Del Toro helping the bad guys and killing 99% of your friends.
Yeah.
That's bad too. And
Yes.
then it's like, oh shit, we didn't finish the job, so I better stop Finn from saving the 1% so that they can kill the rest of the 1%
And it
because we
also
don't
is a
destroy.
stupid line about
I
how
forget the
love will
line.
save us all.
But even though they're about ready to kill everybody. Well, how about Luke Skywalker getting the shit on his face and dying from being a fart in the
Yep.
wind? And
That's what pissed me off the most is how they shit on an iconic established character.
one of
And
the biggest things we find out is he likes walrus titties.
yeah,
Not even human titties. Walrus titties. That's what you wanted since 1983 with Luke Skywalker. He finally comes back. You get one of the big scenes people remember? Walrus titties and milk, walrus titty milk on his
yeah.
mustache.
Luke Skywalker drinking titty milk from an ugly ass
Walrus
alien.
and walrus titties.
Yeah.
And that's oh yeah, that's not a problem. It's that's not a problem, Jar Jar Abrams.
But I think a lot of people also had a point with the female characters not being that well written in that movie either in The Last Jedi. Rey is just a super princess of the universe. She doesn't have any flaws at all. Like there was something that had potential with her being closer to the dark side, but they did nothing with that. They dropped that real quick like it was a bad habit. And then she trains a little bit and that's enough for her to do like lift like a ton of rocks and do all this other stuff. She has no flaws whatsoever. She's as picture perfect as you can get. And in her backstory, there is no backstory. She's just a nothing person.
And she has faced pretty much no obstacles.
No.
I mean, in the first movie, she could fly the Millennium Falcon easily. She could beat Kylo Ren without training. She could do, even though Leia was there, she could did something with the rocks. No, she does the rock. I mean, it's a rather boring character,
Yes.
in my
I
opinion. It's a
agree.
boring
And I don't think it
character.
has anything to do with what's in between her legs or what's on her chest.
It's a boring, like on the page,
Yeah.
written wise. There's nothing backstory. There's nothing
If that
personality
was a
wise.
male character, it would be equally as lame to me.
The guy in Road One,
Yeah.
the Oscar Isaacs, those tears are boring too. And there were guys,
Yeah.
Oscar Isaacs, I think that's his name.
Yeah, the guy who wants to
That would
be
be the Starface or whatever.
yeah, the guy who sounds like he's Mandy Patinkin from The Princess Bride.
He was boring, and there was nothing to him either.
Yeah. No.
There's plenty of boring guys out there too.
They made Poe boring in The Last Jedi.
He was boring. Yes.
And then you have the character of Admiral Holdo, who pretty much all she does is do the same thing that Poe was talking about doing, and she gets praised as being some martyr or some dumb shit. Like this is just a terrible script. It has nothing
Overrated.
to do with the gender of some of the characters. It's just a bad script, period.
Yeah, that's why we like, Tank Girl,
Yeah,
even,
I
and
love Tank Girl. I think
I
Tank
like
Girl
the
is a very underrated, fun movie. It's got flaws, but even despite those, it's such a unique, crazy movie.
we both liked Everly, which everyone
Yes.
hated.
I don't know why. I liked Kidnap. Do you like
Oh, Halle
Kidnap?
Berry. I like the first Lara Croft Tomb
Yeah,
Raider,
so do
Angelina
I.
Jolie.
I'm a big fan of Gina Davis as an actress and a lot of things that she's done. I'm not a big a fan of Cutthroat Island as I used to be, but she's not the problem in that film.
No, she's not the problem.
I
Long
like
Kiss Goodnight,
Long Kiss Goodnight.
but that's a movie. Oh, it's a woman and Samuel L.
Yeah.
Jackson.
But yeah, I mean
I
JJ
mean,
Abrams with his comments here, it's just one of those things that's like
Fuck, Mad Max Fury Road. Charlize Theron was
Yeah,
better than Tom
she was way
Hardy.
better.
Than Tom Hardy. There you go. That's a perfect example. Tom Hardy was boring as hell as Mad Max. Charlize Theron was more
Yeah,
interesting, more badass,
Mad Max
had
didn't
more
even need to be in that
personality.
movie.
No, it could have been just her.
Yeah,
It would have been better.
Furiosa Road. Yeah,
Fury Road.
yeah,
Just all Fury
yeah,
Road.
Fury Road.
Would have been better if it was just her. She was the best. She was better than Tom Hardy
Yeah,
tenfold.
she's the main reason, other than just the action and the direction, as to why I like the film. I mean, if it wasn't for Charlize Theron, like I wouldn't even really be that big of a fan of the movie. I liked Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson. I was one of the few people that actually liked that film and saw it in the theater.
I haven't seen that one yet, but a lot of people didn't like it, but you did.
Yeah. So it's not the gender. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit,
I'm a
stupid
big fan of
argument.
Sandra Bullock. I love Gravity.
Yeah, I love that too.
Saw that in the theater twice. Big Sandra Bullock fan.
I actually like The Heat with Sandra Bullock and Melissa
Melissa
McCarthy.
McCarthy. Like Spy,
Yeah,
Speed of Paul Feed with Melissa McCarthy. Keep going, Sandra Bullock. I like The Net.
yeah.
Back in the day, I like a lot of movies.
I like Romance in the Stone with Michael Douglas and
Kathleen
Kathleen
Turner.
Turner. I like films with Christy Alley, like Look Who's Talking and Madhouse.
You liked Lucy. I
Yeah,
haven't
I
seen
like
Lucy.
Lucy. I thought that was a fun movie too. And one of my favorite films is Death Becomes Her, which has Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep in it.
You're a big Goldie Hawn fan.
Yeah, she's one of my favorite actresses. I like a lot of films that she's done, dramatic roles, comedy roles, and so on. I sat through Snatched because of Goldie Hawn, and she was easily the best thing about that piece of shit movie. So I mean, it's just it's a lame argument, JJ. It's a lame argument. Jag off, jerk off, Abrams. It really is.
That's not even talking about like the Kill Bill films
Yeah,
and just
Savage Streets with Linda Blair, another one of my favorites.
G.I. Jane, favorite of mine. Demi Moore.
Yeah.
Suck my dick.
I, Tanya was one of my favorite films from 2017.
I haven't seen that film, but I've heard good things.
And that starred Margot Robbie. It was all about female figure skater Tanya Harding. So don't give me that. And I know he might not, he's not necessarily talking directly to me or to Matt.
But why
It's
is
just
he
how he
only
loves seeing
saying that?
everything, you know.
But why only say that? Why don't you talk about the other problems people had?
That's the
Why is
problem.
this
That's
the
all
only
they.
thing you say?
Yeah, that's the issue.
This is the only thing you mention. You don't mention the scripts. You don't
No.
mention the storylines that dropped, the map that you yourself put in your movie.
Yeah.
Luke left a map. Oh, obviously they want people to find him. They
Mm-hmm.
find him. I don't want to be found. I want to die here. Then why do you leave a map? Makes no sense. Why'd you leave a map, but then you don't want to be found, so there shouldn't
Yeah.
be a map?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Finn. Oh, he's a stormtrooper. There's no point of him being a stormtrooper because he do nothing with it other than he
Nope.
was a trash man. He was the
Snoke.
garbage man. Whatever the fuck he
Snoke,
was.
he just shows up and does his best Goldmember impression and then dies stupidly
It
while
was
he's villain
fucking
monologuing.
gold pants or whatever the hell he was wearing.
It's a gold robe. He's Goldmember.
Gold robe, yeah.
Yeah.
If you like the film, that's cool,
That's
but don't
fine.
give me this bullshit. Actually, listen to what people say, man. There are plenty of reviews you can listen to where they go bit by bit.
I definitely think it's not just Abrams. It's Kathleen Kennedy. I think she has a really tight grip on Star Wars, sadly. And I hate to say that because she was responsible for executive producing and producing a lot of great movies, and I guess maybe she didn't have as much pull when she was doing those films as Steven Spielberg or some of the other people. Um, but dang, like I don't know. Lately, it just seems like she's really been just pressing things and just really trying to take Star Wars, which is this square peg, and just shove it into a round hole, and it's really frustrating to see. It really is. A producer should not have this much weight and sway over an entire franchise. And Disney isn't doing anything to help it either. I mean, you would think Disney would know better, considering how, I guess, supposed to be good at marketing, considering how good their marketing was for Black Panther. But they let JJ Abrams just open his mouth here and slip this thing out. But then again, they're into this whole sort of thing lately. I mean, Wrinkle in Time, and so on and so forth. So who knows? Maybe they're all for that. Like, yeah, there you tell them, JJ. You tell those internet trolls what's up.
But everyone's not trolling.
No.
That's the thing. Some of them and some of them are women.
Yeah.
Some of them who don't like the film are women.
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of women that don't like the film. So how does he explain that? There are women who commented to me saying, I like Luke Skywalker. I think it's such what they did to him.
Yeah.
So what the fuck? How do you explain that, Jar Jar? Abrams? That's disrespectful to Jar Jar Binks.
I'm just not. I had no hope for this franchise after The Last Jedi, and have even less hope with this recent interview
I had
with
no
JJ.
hope after Force Awakens. That's why I didn't pay to see Last Jedi. And at this point, I almost never want to give Disney my fucking money. Ever.
I don't blame
I'll
you.
watch the shit for free. Or not at all.
I don't blame you.
Stop
Seems like
this.
they have their priorities all fucked up.
Just make a movie. And then, yeah, we've never had a movie that got some people not liking it. It's with almost every fucking movie made. And now they're listening to the butthurt.
Well, I mean, let's take a look at for something like Deadpool, and also the sequel has some casting changes too, and some race swapping and so on. In Deadpool, the character Blind Owl was white in the comics, but she's black in the movie. I didn't care, had no issue with it, seemed to be fine with me. I actually
I didn't
supported
care.
Michael B. Jordan as Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four reboot in 2014.
So did I.
And then you have like in Deadpool 2, the character Domino. It's different than the character Domino in the comics. I don't think she is. I don't remember her being African American, but she might have been. But I know in the comic the she shows more white on her face than black. But
It was like paint.
yeah, paint. So it's a different look, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Because for me, it's about the performance. It's about
No, she was white. In
yeah, she
seen
was white.
pictures.
Yeah, so
It's
all right.
fine. I like Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin.
Yeah, I thought it was great in Daredevil as Kingpin.
Ben Affleck's Daredevil.
Yeah,
Yeah. I liked him a lot.
it all depends on hey, and a lot of that probably wasn't. Oh, we got to have a white a black villain because we have
There's
a
no
white
look,
hero.
look who Michael Clark Duncan is.
They were just like, hey, Michael Clark Duncan is a talented actor. We think he'd be a good fit for Kingpin.
They're great size too
Yeah,
for the villain, for the character.
yeah. So you can cast actors in roles uh, based on other things other than the color of their skin or what their ethnicity is or their gender is or whatever. It's possible. And it still happens, which is good to see. But I don't know. It seems like more and more there seems to be this kind of casting that happens before the movie is even shot, before it even sometimes even before the script is even made. They already have this person in mind to be casted in the film, and they have this ideal character, and that happens with all movies, but it seems like a lot of times lately it's just this whole, oh, they think of, oh, it's gonna be a female lead, or it's gonna be a mixed race lead before they even cast things, because they already have decided ahead of time what direction they're gonna go with it. And it just seems like they're just doing that, not just for diversity's sake. It just seems like, yeah, it just seems like it's like diversity for diversity's sake, and an excuse for some of these studios to give themselves some kudos, you know, pat themselves on the back. Look at how diverse we are. Look at the diversity. It's not naturally developing, but that's just how I feel about that. It's a recent trend that it irritates me. So I got nothing else to say about JJ Abrams and his comments. We have some recent some news here. Um, Apparently, the Catwoman writer admitted that it's a bad movie with zero relevance, has zero cultural relevance. Yeah, it's definitely a bad film, but I guess you could argue that it does have cultural relevance, despite the fact that, oh, it has none. Even though, I mean, it was a black superhero film with a female lead who happened to be black. Even though the film was terrible and is an awful movie, it still has a place in history. At least I admit that. I'm not just gonna erase it and its cultural relevance just because it was a bad movie. I think that's a can of worms that I think should not be opened.
You say the first good movie.
Yeah, that's fine. Has there been a good black superhero film with a female lead who's black yet? I guess Black Panther has female leads in it, so I guess you could say that
Well, I
counts.
mean, as the star,
Yeah.
none that I can think of.
There's another there's another border, or so there's some more ground people can break.
Yeah.
Now, apparently Vin Diesel is going to do a Bloodshot film. Sony's doing it, and it may start filming this summer. I don't know who the hell Bloodshot is. Apparently he's an indestructible super soldier. I think it's based on an Image comic, I think. Or maybe it's not Image comic, maybe it's some other comic book. I know it wasn't it wasn't DC or Marvel or anything like that.
Well, that other topic, maybe they'll do that with the Iron Man thing.
Yeah, with Riri.
I
Not
didn't know what
Riri,
her name.
Shirori.
I
Shirori?
didn't know. I
Yeah,
didn't know her
Shirori.
name.
Yeah, Shirori is her name. Riri's the name of the comic book character who replaced Tony Stark as Iron Man in the comics
Okay.
recently. I really don't like that idea. I know some fans are asking for that. I do not want to see her become Iron Man or Iron Woman or Iron Maiden in Spider-Man Homecoming, the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming. I really don't want to see that. In fact, Spider-Man Homecoming, the more and more I think about it, the more and more forgettable and lame that movie is. And to be honest, if you're going to do a sequel, we don't need that. We don't need Iron Man, period. It's a Spider-Man movie. Let him be the focus of his own goddamn movie. Okay? We don't need more of that in the sequel. And while you're at it, kick Ned out of the chair. Because Spider-Man doesn't need a man in the chair, because he is the man in the chair, and then some. Sorry, I just hate that character of Ned. Easily one of the worst characters in the MCU, if you ask me. He adds nothing other than to take things away from Peter, to make he's shitty comic relief, and it's one of those things that's just like, why? Peter's supposed to be one of the most intelligent, smart, characters in the Marvel Universe. He does not need a nerdy fucking sidekick to be there in the chair and monitor shit for him. He can handle that shit himself. Speaking of Spider-Man, Sony's thinking about doing the Silver and Black movie with Silver Sable and Black Cat, but production has been delayed indefinitely, which I'm not surprised at all, because we didn't really hear anything about this movie other than a title and a concept. There was no directors that were attached. There was no cast members.
Yeah, I've heard nothing about it.
This is one good thing about A Wrinkle in Time I have to give Disney credit for, and AMC. Really, it's mainly AMC who's doing this. AMC theaters and Color of Change are offering donated tickets for Disney's A Wrinkle in Time to children in need. I think that's a nice thing to do.
That's cool. That's pretty cool.
I guess they're going to do a sequel to 47 Meters Down. They're saying it'll be the Descent Underwater.
Huh. So underwater caves?
With sharks? Apparently there is a rumor that Henry Cavill is up for being extended for his role in the DC cinematic universe. Depending on how well Aquaman does, this universe might not even be a thing by that point. So we shall see. The Blumhouse Halloween sequel, which is just titled Halloween, it's officially wrapped production. So they're done shooting the film. So all we can do now is wait for it to come out. And hope and pray it isn't a flaming pile of shit. Goosebumps 2 added cast members from Jumanji 2 to the cast.
Oh, great.
Yep.
I didn't watch the first Goosebumps.
Not missing anything, Matt. It's a goose dump. And nope, they're probably not going to do a horror anthology for kids. Nope, let's just do another Jumanji ripoff, which is what Goosebumps was. So I find that kind of ironic that cast members from Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle are going to be in Goosebumps 2, which is going to be another Jumanji wannabe, probably. Steven Spielberg admits that he had no confidence in Hook. It's a film we definitely agree to disagree on. People want to know a movie that we don't see eye to eye on. That's one for sure. Matt's not a fan of that film. I'm a huge fan of Hook.
Right.
So I'm not surprised Steven Spielberg said that because he seems to just want to shit on that movie. So it's not surprising. Speaking of shit, they're apparently making a Flaming Hot Cheetos movie.
Yeah, it's a biopic on the guy who created Flamin' Hot Cheetos.
Yeah, from Fox Searchlight. I still think that's a waste of money. A biopic on the guy who created Flaming Hot Cheetos. Who cares?
Did that one on McDonald's make money?
The founder
Michael
didn't do that
Keaton?
well, I don't think, at the box office. It's a good movie, but it didn't do well.
So, I mean, I don't see how Flamin' Hot Cheetos biopic will do anything.
Yeah.
Recognition-wise or whatever they're looking for.
It just seems like a waste of money. And a waste of space and a waste of brain cells is this article from Carolyn Burke complaining about how Hollywood movies with female leads went down in number in 2017. Despite dominating the box office of the top 3 movies, female lead roles dropped a full 5% in Hollywood in 2017. Why should it matter? Why should any of that matter?
I have no idea.
I mean, even when you have like the top three films that year, had female leads, and that's not enough.
I just hope they're good movies.
Yeah, same here. I didn't find Wonder Woman to be a good movie. I don't care if it made money. Is that the whole argument? There seems to be. There's a lot of people who are like, well, this movie made a lot of money.
So do Transformers movies. Do you love those too?
Probably not. Probably not. So Halloween 2018 is apparently going to be similar to the original film. How do you feel about that?
Wow, big surprise. I told you it's going to be pretty much like a remake. I mean, it's not technically be a remake, but they're just going to do Michael Myers in a town killing people one by one with a knife. It's going to make fucking Jurassic World type, Force Awakens type. It's a sequel, but it's a remake.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested in another 11th Halloween film. I'm not. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not.
I'm
I have
not
no
really
reason
interested
to
in that
be.
either. I think that franchise has run its course.
I do too. I mean, it's okay for
Well, there aren't
franchise
really
to
a lot of
stop.
great films in the there's more bad movies in that franchise, if you ask me, than there are good films. So I really think they should just stop, or they make it even worse than it already is.
Well, I mean, it probably won't be worse than the Rob Zombie stuff, but that's not saying
No,
much of anything.
it could still be
So,
bad.
so be mediocre bad like Leatherface.
That wasn't even mediocre bad. That was just
Well, I
bad.
mean, compared to Texas Chainsaw 3D, it was
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
still didn't like the movie.
Like, what are you gonna
Cult
add to the franchise?
Chucky.
It just sounds like it should be another Leatherface. It added nothing to the franchise. Didn't even need to exist.
He
This
was a
doesn't
pretty
sound like it needs
boy.
to exist either. Chris Tucker
Leatherface was a
apparently,
pretty boy.
yeah, Leatherface is a pretty boy. Is Michael Myers gonna be pretty boy? No, because it'll be played by Nick Castle. I'm supposed to be like, oh man, Nick Castle.
Then he'll take his mask off and it really will be Michael Myers.
Like in that Robot Chicken
Robot,
sketch,
yeah.
the Big Brother whatever sketch that they did.
Yeah.
Chris Tucker confirms Rush Hour 4. How do you feel about that?
Love the first two. Was not a big fan of the third one.
It's been a long
I think
time since the
it's
third one too.
that was 2007. I think it's too late. It's sad, I guess. Jackie Chan's not doing that film with Stallone. Ex Bad Dad. I was actually wanting to see
Yeah, I
that
was I was
more.
looking forward to that too.
I wish Chris Tucker would just try to do solo movies. Because he didn't really do that run of movies. Do a couple solo comedy or
Yeah, and
comedy
that
action
hurt his
movies.
performance, I feel, in Rush Hour 3 because he hadn't acted in anything for years.
Probably since Rush Hour 2, maybe?
And then he comes back and does Rush Hour 3, and he definitely does look like he had not acted in a long time.
Right.
Mission Impossible Fallout officially wrapped filming. That's good to hear. I'm looking forward to that one. They're doing a Zorro. Oh, they still are doing that stupid fucking Zorro movie. It's still happening.
In the future called Z
Yes. Yes.
2040 or whatever.
Phantom 2040. Phantom 2049. Yeah. Yeah. Hmm. They already
A
did
few,
that in like a shitty cartoon. A Zorro cartoon that took place in the future. We don't need to do that. We don't need a movie based on that. No. Dwayne Johnson is like Indiana Jones in the Jungle Cruise ride movie, apparently.
I'll stick to Indiana Jones. I get burned out on the rock.
Yeah, I'm
With
starting to get burned out on him too.
with these kind of roles, yes.
Aquaman had a screening, and the reactions praised the film's action and said it was an emotional movie.
Well, I'm sure I'd be emotional too. Like, I can't believe this fucking movie's so bad. I didn't like Wonder Woman. I got a lot of praise. I don't care for the actor. I don't care for the character. Yeah, James Wan's directing it, but I mean,
And Dolph Lundgren's in the cast.
that's cool, but that doesn't make me want to see the movie. Not interested in the story, the idea, the character,
Yeah, I don't
or the
like
lead
Aquaman,
actor.
and I don't like Jason Momoa, so
So I have no interest.
apparently Black Panther's an actor, Winston Duke. He wants to do a Bad Boys reboot with the guy from Get Out.
I don't want to see a reboot of Bad Boys.
I don't
I'd
either.
be curious to see a third movie,
Yeah,
but I don't want to see a reboot of Bad Boys. Just make your own movie then. Why does that have to be a reboot of Bad Boys? It could be any other movie with any other title. It doesn't have to be a reboot of Bad Boys. If you two want to work together in an action movie, do it. It doesn't
yeah,
have to use the Bad Boys name.
I agree. Apparently, Duncan Jones, who directed that film Mute, he wants to adapt a 2080 comic book series. He would like to do a character from 2080, like Judge Dredd or Rogue Trooper. I would be curious to see what his Judge Dredd would be like.
Sure. So not do anything else with it.
And thanks to Insidious, The Last Key's box office, we might get a fifth Insidious.
I didn't know it was a hit.
I guess it made enough money, maybe, that apparently it's become the top grossing Insidious film at the box office. So,
Okay. It's surprising.
I know. I kind of called it. I was like, oh, they're going to call it The Last Key. It's not going to be the last movie. Yeah, it made $164.4 million worldwide on a $10 million budget. Why? I have no fucking idea.
I did not see the film.
I didn't
The last
either.
one I saw was the first one. You were thinking of seeing that? I know you were thinking of
I
doing the
decided not to.
Insidious movie.
Decided not to watch it.
I don't
Terminator
blame you.
6 has revealed new filming start date and casting details. We don't need a Terminator 6. That's another franchise that just needs to be terminated.
We didn't need any after 2.
No. Absolutely not.
Just stop. Seriously, just stop the shit.
I feel like Tom Atkins at the end of Halloween 3.
Halloween 3. Stop it.
What, you're not looking forward to the Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
No. Why is it live action? Why does it have to be live action?
I have no idea. Because that worked out so well with Sonic 06.
It should be a purely like. Well, Star 6. I mean, well, I guess technically it really wasn't live action. I mean, I guess you
But
mean
it
like
was
with human
Sonic
characters.
with human characters, so
Yeah, but why? Why not just a purely CGI film, like a Pixar film
because
type?
that's what's popular. The Disney, Disney's doing their live action and reboots of their animated movies, like their upcoming live action Lion King, which makes no sense because there are no humans in that movie. So what? It's just natural looking animals
Yes.
that are made entirely out of CGI and placed
Yes.
in CGI background. How could you even call that live action? What is like 5% of that film, or even less than that, going to be live action? It's false advertising. They're also doing a Purge TV show. That's unnecessary. Who cares? Where's the audience for this?
It's a concept that takes place within 1 day per year. Because it'll be like 24 hours of this 1 day. I don't understand.
I don't get it either. I heard a rumor that Netflix might be trying to get off the ground a Resident Evil TV series. How do you feel about that?
I don't know if you need a TV series.
But I've heard that they would try to follow the games much more closely and not be anything like the Wild Stallion Anderson movies.
Uh, I would wait for a trailer.
Yeah.
I don't know about a series. You could just do a movie in a mansion
Hmm.
and see where things go. I don't know about a TV series. I know the Lionsgate wants to do a Blair Witch TV series.
How do you feel about that?
Why? Like, what are you going to do with a Blair Witch TV series? What? Every week, a different group of people go in the woods and a different set of sticks and
It's
stones.
it's a crossover with Cabin in the Woods.
But it's like, seriously, it's the dumbest fucking idea for a TV show. Every week, a group of people go out in the woods and get lost. In this episode, the sticks kill them. In this episode, stones kill them. In this episode, they kill each other. In this episode, they die from drowning because they fell in the lake. They fell in the. I don't. Blair Witch
This episode,
2016 was bad enough.
the trees from the Evil Dead raped the cast.
One episode would be that shitty VHS segment. That movie VHS. That fucking. Was that the one with the
Yeah, that
invisible
dumb bitch who decides to, well, not
leader
dumb,
friends?
that mean bitch.
Well, she was dumb too. Cause
Yeah,
she.
decides to sacrifice her friends to kill the glitch killer who killed her
Yeah,
family or
because
whatever.
they kill their friends. They kill their friends, so they're gonna sacrifice more friends. They killed her other friends. She's a dumb bitch.
And this would
And
be a dumb series.
there's no reason. Just do a special edition with a new documentary.
And like a new
Why?
transfer or something.
Well, I mean, you can't do much because they're in the format.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
But yeah, at least some more
remaster it.
features.
I mean, yeah, I understand the format, but I mean, still, even with that format, it probably could look a little bit better than the DVD. But there is a Blu-ray, but it's just the same features from the. I mean,
Pretty much. I mean, I have the Blu-ray. I mean,
it would be nice to see a special edition of that. It has a much bigger fan following and cultural impact than the Poughkeepsie tapes.
yeah, and there was talks of a documentary. I don't know what happened to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would like to see a full-grown documentary, interviews with all the people involved, the controversy, the ups and the big downs that they had because of it. Just
You could even have a little bit that talk about the sequel. You know, have something like the Fright Night documentary about Blair Witch.
I'd be fine with that. I mean, if you have to talk about the second one and even the third, it's a sequel, but might as well call it a remake. But it's
Yeah,
technically a sequel.
yeah.
Fine. I mean, you don't have to waste money on this. There's no reason for a Blair Witch TV show. There's no reason.
And there's even less of a reason for me because I'm not super big on Blair Witch.
Yeah, you're
So
not much. That's another we differ on, just like Hook. Only the opposite. I'm more of a fan.
I want to
You're
give it
not
another
really a
watch though
fan.
someday, but I just have a bunch of
But
other
as of
films
right
on my
now,
watch list.
you're
Yeah.
not much a fan, and I am. So it's a
I'm not
stupid idea.
something I'm not someone I'm not a big fan of is Eli Roth, and he's doing the new Death Wish movie. I like the advertising campaign for the film, but I'm definitely leery of the movie. I hope Bruce is back, as the poster claims, but we shall see. Is he
Yeah,
back for real, or is he just back at being an asshole?
he's back for a paycheck.
He's back for a paycheck, and he's back to still being the next Steven Seagal. which apparently seems like God has answered your prayers because there hasn't been any new Steven Seagal movies.
Where there's one with Mike Tyson
Well, there's
that
that
he's
one,
a
but you
part
already
of.
kind of knew about that one.
Yeah,
So,
but you know, I mean, considering there was like seven, and when I reviewed them, someone left a fun comment. Maybe he saw those videos, got scared. I know that's not true, but it's a
it's like,
funny
man, I
idea.
better not piss this guy off anymore.
It's not true, but it's a fun idea. I mean, good. I'm glad he took a break from seven movies in 1 year. When I was doing that Steven Seagal movie marathon. Thank you, Seagal. Should at least say that.
Take a break from the buffet table too, or McDonald's.
Black Dawn, sponsored by McDonald's. Don't know what I mean? Feel free to check out my review.
That's just too good to be true. I just imagine the story behind that. Steven Seagal is irritated. They're getting ready to shoot the scene, and he's all irritated and in a bad mood, and he's all like, "I'm not gonna shoot the damn scene until I get my Big Mac and my large fries."
And he left him on the dashboard because it's in the scene, folks. At Black Dawn on the dashboard, there's a fucking box of those red box of large French fries from McDonald's. Those
And cheeseburger wrappers.
the cheeseburger wrappers right on the dashboard while he's talking to a guy. It's like someone left it there as a joke or something.
Or the director, just to spite him, just shot the scene right after he had his burgers and fries.
Maybe.
It's just like, fuck you, Seagal.
But
So, there's gonna be a Shaft sequel slash reboot with Jesse T. Usher, who really wowed us with his performance in Independence Day Resurgence. It's called Son of Shaft, which is not. It's just anything with "son of" in the title is usually a son of a bitch or just a terrible movie. Son of the Mask, Son of the Pink Panther.
Son of the Beach,
Yeah, Son of the Beach.
a
That
TV
yeah,
show.
that was parodying Baywatch, which is interesting because Baywatch is already really a parody. If you think about it.
Yeah. Truthfully, yeah.
So I really don't have any hope for this. I know Richard Roundtree and Samuel Jackson are going to be in it, but Jesse T. Usher, this guy looks like Jet Jackson from that TV show on Disney Channel. Like this guy, he does not have a shaft bone in his entire body. I feel like if I watch this movie, I get shafted for sure because Jesse T. Usher is trying to carry on the mantle of Shaft. He's not one
Yeah.
bad motherfucker. Okay. He's just a
Not
bad
based
actor.
on not based on that movie, Independence Day 2, no.
Bill and Ted 3 would apparently bring back William Sadler's death. Screenwriter Ed Solomon has an idea. Keanu and Alex Winters, they want to do the film. But they can't seem to get any funding because studios are fucking stupid and stubborn and they'd rather do a remake. So they don't want to give money to Ed Solomon and company to do Bill and Ted 3. And it's really frustrating, especially considering how Keanu's resurrected his career with the John Wick films. But nope. Even if Keanu wants to do it, nah. You know, Bill and Ted, those movies are so old. Like, we have to have a reboot in order to get people to know what Bill and Ted are. And I call bullshit on that because I think Bill and Ted are still a pretty recognizable pair.
Which doesn't make sense because it would still be called Bill and Ted's.
Yeah. But you know, that's their
So
argument. That's their thing. You know, we got to reboot it to new audiences.
the new audience won't care.
I know.
If they don't like the old Bill and Ted, why would they care about a new Bill and Ted of any sort? Like they cared about Total Recall or Robocop,
Yeah.
thankfully.
They didn't
They
care.
didn't do that well.
No.
They didn't care. And some of them even saw how shitty he was too. Some of them do, the new audience actually does. Some of them actually do look at the old and go, yeah, some of this new stuff is shit.
Yeah.
Some of them actually do.
Some of them watch the new one and then go see the old one, and I'm like, wow, this is so much better.
Exactly.
So I guess that's one positive that the reboots or remakes have, but it still doesn't
And it,
justify their existence to me because
it's
those
a
people could still,
waste of money.
yeah, those people could still find the movie. They could still the people who are interested in Bill and Ted or RoboCop or Ghostbusters or Total Recall, they could still track down those older films and watch them anyway.
And it's just a waste of money. You're putting so much other
Yeah.
stuff.
I really think they should crowdfund this. I think Super Troopers 2 got crowdfunded, so I think Ed Solomon and company, I think they should put this on Indiegogo or Kickstarter or something and see if they can get the fans to help out. Because apparently the studio doesn't want to do anything. Want to be lazy, would rather do a fucking remake. Yeah, that worked out so well when other actors played Bill and Ted in the Fox TV series that nobody fucking barely remembers because it sucked. It was awful. There's only there's only one pair. There's only one dynamic duo that can play Bill and Ted, and that's Keanu Reeves and Alex Winters.
Yes.
So that's just upsetting. Like, there's a sequel. I like the idea. It seems like there's passion behind it, and it can't get funding. But Sharknado 6, wow, we can get that fucking movie. We can get a six Sharknado film.
Never even
No
seen
Bill
the
and Ted
first one.
3. Yeah, I haven't seen the first one either because I don't like films like that. I don't like films that are intentionally bad because normally when they do that, it rarely ever works out for me. It's just bad.
Yeah,
I don't know why they do that, and I don't know why the Sharknado films are so popular. It's like The Room and Troll 2 and Birdemic. Those are films that are unintentionally bad, and that's why they're hilarious. Because they put an effort into it, but it's an incompetent, just ridiculously terrible movie. Sharknado is intentionally trying to be bad, and by default, that just makes it trying to be something like the disaster movies of the world, and we don't need any more of those films. And by disaster movies, I mean the disaster movie by the Seltzer brothers or whatever the fuck their name is, epic movie, and so on and so forth. Not disaster movies in general. Apparently, Rutger Hauer isn't a fan of Blade Runner 2049. He felt it lacked the humor and soul of Ridley Scott's original movie. What do you have to say about that?
I agree, disagree with Roger Hauer. I don't remember. I don't remember much humor in Blade Runner.
Yeah, I don't either, to be honest.
And Soul, I think, had a lot of soul, especially Ryan Gosling's character. So I disagree with him on that too.
Ditto. I agree with him though when he says there are a lot of films that lack balls nowadays. So I do agree with him on that.
I can see that, yeah.
Apparently, they're going to start shooting Godzilla versus King Kong sometime soon. What are your thoughts ahead of time on that movie?
I don't care for the director,
Okay.
Adam Wingard.
Oh yeah.
The guy who did Your Next, and
Didn't he direct that terrible segment of VHS?
he might have done one of them. He did Blair Witch,
Hmm.
2016. To me, the Blair Bitch. Hate that fucking movie. It was fucking awful. He did that piece of fucking shit. So I, I don't know if there's a film he's done that I haven't seen Your Next, but I've seen your review of it. But based on Blair Witch and The Guest,
There's
there's
like a
some
better
stuff I like about
soundtrack
it.
and like better, the lead guy's good.
Lead guy's really
That's
good.
what I've heard is like the lead's really good and it has a good soundtrack and there's some good
Yeah,
moments.
yeah.
I still need to see that one.
But I mean, yeah, he worked on VHS. I think maybe I forget which part it was.
I think he did
Maybe
the opening thing with
the wraparound.
yeah, I think he did the wraparound.
That sucked. I didn't see Death Note. You saw Your Next. What are your thoughts on Your Next? For
Your
those who,
next is it's got a great I like the female lead. She kicks a lot of ass, but she's like one of the few bright spots about this movie. Wingard's direction isn't terrible, but I wasn't really that impressed with it. The film suffers from, other than the lead, unbearably unlikable characters who you want to die 20 minutes in the movie. And when they finally start dying, well, that doesn't really help the movie because they don't die fast enough. So it's just this, oh, let's wait agonizingly until these annoying fucking characters die. And that means there's no suspense because I don't care about anybody other than this one girl who finally, near the end, gets in a badass. She gets into some situations where she kicks a lot of ass and is a total badass doing it. But then that's undone by one of the dumbest fucking twists I've ever heard in my life, where it's like, it's all revealed to why these killers broke into the house and why they did all this. Because the girl's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or whatever wanted to do her a favor, and I guess by doing this somehow he'll help her pay off her student loans or some other fucking stupid shit. It was the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I literally cannot believe what I was hearing when I first saw this movie. I had to pause it and then like walk outside the room and just be like, "What? What the fuck? Did I seriously fucking hear what I think I heard?" Then I walked back in and rewound it and listened to and saw that scene again. Yep, I wasn't just hallucinating. I wasn't just imagining shit. That actually did happen. So yeah, I'm leery on the film too because of the director. But we shall see. I
oh, VHS 2, he did that stupid one with the
oh, the guy with the
eye.
eye. Yeah, that was
And I
actually
think
a
he was
pretty
the
good segment.
with
I
the
mean the
eye?
episode, the film. I said the film was pretty good for the most part,
Oh, I thought
except
you said the
for no,
episode.
that segment sucked. Sorry, my
I think he was the guy who starred in that too.
yeah.
He was the actor that with the
Mm-hmm.
such acting, such directing. This is like the one part I didn't like about VHS 2.
Yeah, for me
And
too.
he
Yeah.
starred and directed in it. So VHS 2 segment, the one segment in Light, he directed and starred in it.
Mm-hmm.
VHS 1, he did the wraparound, which was shitty. A bunch of all these assholes who are the biggest fucking idiots. And then, like, Blair Bitch. Why him? I don't understand why they
I
got.
don't know
He's the
why they didn't
director. I
give the
don't get
guy who
it.
did Kong Skull Island the job.
Probably because it underperformed or critics didn't
Who
love it as
fucking
much as
cares what
Godzilla.
critics think? Like, it's still getting a sequel, basically, because King Kong versus Godzilla.
Well, they had already planned, but because of Godzilla's success, and they're
I
doing
thought it did
Godzilla
well.
2.
I thought it did pretty solid in the box office.
I'll look it up real quick. Sorry, folks. Just want to make sure real quick. Made 168 million in the U.S. and 566 million
Yeah.
worldwide on a $185 million budget.
Okay, so it didn't make as much in the U.S. as they might have liked. And my throat just died there because I don't know. It's just maybe my body's like that sucks. Deserved better. It's a good movie. Regardless, it made money, and he did a good job directing the movie. So
Well, I mean, technically it made more worldwide than Godzilla 2014.
yeah,
It cost a little bit more,
and I
but
don't know
it made
why
a
they
little bit
wouldn't
more.
give him
So,
the job over Adam Wingard. What Godzilla movies or King Kong films has he done? None.
well, I think they just wanted a different director, just their different take.
Why do we
Because
need that?
I don't know. Just they decide it's. I don't know. That's not. I
Look what
mean,
happens with the Captain America movies for Marvel. I think it's the Russo brothers, right? No, that's
well, I mean,
different.
like,
That's different
but like the
directors.
first film had a different director than the second
Yeah,
film.
yeah, yeah. But then they did the second and third ones. The same
Yeah,
guys,
yeah, the Russos,
the Russos.
Anthony Russo and Joe Russo.
And that's a pair that I didn't see that their performance coming at all. Because before they did
No,
stuff like You,
so
Me, and Dupree, so maybe Adam Wingard could win me over. I don't know. And
you know
I
what?
didn't even know anything about Jordan Vogt Roberts.
I hope he does. I'll say it right here. I hope he does.
I do too.
I really do. I hope he surprises me. I really, no bullshit do.
So do I. Speaking of Godzilla as well, they're doing a sequel, Godzilla 2. Um, the guy who did Godzilla, Goddamn Zilla from 2014, is not directing. Some other guy, and apparently, it's rumored there's gonna be King Ghidorah or Ghidria or sorry,
King Ghidorah.
King Ghidorah. It doesn't look like that at all. With the when you look at the word,
Yeah.
King Ghidorah and Mothra,
Or it might be pronounced Ghidorah. Might be that
Ghidorah,
Ghidorah.
and it's supposed to have more action, and I hope that's the case.
Yeah,
Don't cut away from the fights. Please don't do that again.
that'd be appreciated.
It definitely would, for sure. I'm just seeing what else I could talk about here. Jumanji is Sony's second highest grossing movie ever. Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. Not the first Jumanji, the sequel.
That just pisses me off. Hate that movie.
I hated it too.
So overrated. So much crap. Just fucking hate that movie. Does not deserve that.
I agree. I don't understand. I do not get that film's success.
I never will.
I won't get it either. Or it's just a fun movie. Like Blank
I
Man
didn't.
is a fun movie. That wasn't fun. At least not to me.
I found nothing fun with the movie.
I didn't either. You're not alone. So, Creed 2.
Well, apparently we're alone because it's such a most successful movie ever.
Yeah.
I didn't give it a dime. I'm
I didn't see it
glad.
in the theater either. So, Sylvester Stallone, he unveiled a Creed 2 fan poster. And Dolph Lundgren also talked about the Creed 2 script and said it's really good. Um,
Why do we need more Rocky films? I mean, I
yeah.
know it's Creed, but why could it just not end Rocky Balboa?
That was the
I thought
perfect
this,
ending to the franchise.
I thought that was what Stallone wanted in the first place because he was disappointed in Rocky 5. He didn't want to keep going and
Mm-hmm.
milking it. And now he's milking it. I know Creed, he got his Oscar nomination. Cool. I, I think there are many other movies I would have
Copland,
Copland,
Lock Up.
even yeah, Lock Up, Rocky Balboa,
Yes. I think his
which he had
performance in
more to
Rocky
do.
Balboa is way better than his performance in Creed.
He got sick, he puked, he got cancer.
In Rocky Balboa, he delivers inspiring quote one after another. I mean, one of the most inspiring quotes ever, in my opinion, with the "It ain't about how hard you hit; it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward" speech.
There's moments he's ready to break down when he's talking
Yeah,
about how hard it is and there's something in the basement
yeah.
and but if you get cancer you get an Oscar nomination? Because that's really what all his character ended up doing.
Well, I've kind of heard and I've kind of seen that kind of happen in the Oscars. Oh, you get sick, you know. Here's your Oscar nod. I don't agree with
It's
that, but
ridiculous.
it is. Especially with being just completely ignored and not getting us nominated at least for Copland.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Running out of ideas for movies because JJ Abrams and Mattel are teaming up for some fucking movie about the Beastalies, which I guess is some fucking toy line I've never even heard of. Must be a new thing.
I know nothing about it.
Neither do I. I don't know jack shit about the Beastalies. Um, and with Creed 2, yeah, I'm not interested in this. Drago's son, he's gonna fight Creed. It's one of those things. It's like, who really? I don't really care. Is it? And they're probably gonna kill off Rocky. I hope they don't do that, but I could totally see them doing that
Yeah,
to give Creed some extra motivation or inspiration to beat Drago's son, who doesn't look anything like Dolph Lundgren, the guy they casted to play his son.
I don't know why we need more Rocky Creed movies. I don't get it.
Money
Creed was just a shitty remake of the first movie
with
with
parts
element
of
Rocky
five.
Five
Yeah,
and Balboa, the Rocky Balboa. That's all it was, and some shitty Ennio Morricone ripoff music.
and a lead who's unlikable.
He was the unlikable prick in the movie. I'm sorry, folks. I like Michael B. Jordan in Chronicle. I didn't even hate him in fucking Fantastic Four
He
like
was
everyone
actually a
else
likable
did.
guy in that. I think that
I
suits his
don't.
personality and his genuine charisma more, is that kind of role versus what he's doing in Creed and in Black Panther, playing this punk. It's not
You
believable to me. I don't think he's right for that kind of role. It comes across as him trying to be a wannabe tough guy, and I
just
don't
make
buy
your
it.
own. Just make your own fucking boxing movie.
Yeah,
Well, they did. It's called Southpaw and it bombed. So,
yeah, exactly. And it's a much
so I
better
guess that's
movie.
why.
Jake Gyllenhaal
Yes.
was robbed uh, from getting an Oscar nod for that. We're talking about a boxing movie that deserved Oscar nominations and a performance that deserved an Oscar nod. Gyllenhaal put way more into it. And I'm not taking anything away from Stallone, but I thought that was one of his weaker performances, to be honest, compared to a
Just
lot of the other films he's done that had better. I mean, even his performance of First Blood.
much more than in Creed.
Apparently, Joe
Speech at the
Dante
end.
is doing a film called. He's executive producing a film called Teddy Bears Are Lovers, which is a horror comedy based on some short film that won a bunch of awards.
Yeah, like killer teddy bears on Valentine's Day or something.
I don't know about that. I really don't know about that. Killer teddy bears. I mean, there was that scene in Dolls that was pretty funny, but I don't know.
I'll wait for a trailer.
Apparently, Fangoria is making a comeback. If that's the case, then make sure you hire the right people, because the last guy who ran Fangoria ran it into the fucking ground. So make sure you hire the right people. If you don't do that, then it's just gonna get all fucked up again. So, be careful. Uh, Hellraiser Judgment director Gary J. Tunnicliffe apparently is blaming Scream for the Hellraiser franchise's woes.
Oh, not the 50 shitty sequels.
No, it's Scream's fault. I mean, the success of Scream and the type of movie that it is.
But those movies after like three, or even if you want to give leniency to four,
Yeah,
it sucked.
yeah. Inferno, I didn't mind, but after that, it's just straight up garbage and suffering. So,
Garbage
and Arnold Schwarzenegger is apparently cast in the Kung Fury film,
with Michael Fassbender.
which I don't get. Is he really playing Kung Fury in that movie? If that's the case, I can't
I don't
really be
know.
all for it because
I don't know their co-stars. I don't know
they say
who's
he's
playing the
front.
lead.
This says Michael Fassbender fronted. I'm like, why the hell would he cast Michael Fassbender in that role? Yeah, because Assassin's Creed was such a hit. Why not cast the guy who played Kung Fury in the fucking short?
Because they want a star in the lead to sell the movie. Michael Fassbender was in.
Whatever happened to casting the right person for the role? Like, I don't know, Christopher Reeve and Superman. Now, they tried all these different other actors and big time actors at the time. They screen tested all these different people, but ultimately they went with Christopher Reeve, and the rest is history. Yes, there are instances where they go with unknowns, like with this new Han Solo guy who doesn't really look like he's that great of an actor,
Gal Gadot.
or Gal Gadot, but I give them credit for at least trying to do something different, you know? If Michael Fassbender's playing Kung Fury, like, I don't really have a lot of hope for that movie. And I love Kung Fury. I love that short film.
Yeah, I loved it too.
Arnold Schwarzenegger being cast in it, that's cool, but that doesn't automatically, oh, wow, I'm going to look forward to that because Arnold Schwarzenegger's in it. Last film he did that was any good was The Last Stand. Last film he
Yeah,
did that I saw was Killing Gunther, and it was embarrassing. He sang country music, even worse than Stallone did in Rhinestone, and he dressed up as a woman and banged some dude. And he kept digging his own grave more with these just fucking lazy ass repetition and repeating of his famous lines in his movies. Would get to the chopper and all these other famous lines, which I'm really sick and tired of him doing that in his films. It's just a whole lot. You remember that? Do you remember this quote? Do you remember this movie I was in? Like, yes, I do,
yeah,
Arnold. I haven't forgotten.
I do remember.
I wish I
I
could
do.
forget this current stretch of shitty films that you've been making and been in as of late, but nope. And one last thing, we'll talk about The Predator, which is getting pushed back or pushed ahead, or however the hell you say it. It's supposed to come out, what, the summer?
September. I forget when.
I
I
think it
know
was this
it's pushed
summer
back to
sometime. So it's been
September.
pushed to September now. Rumors are it's for
There's,
reshoots.
even though apparently the test screens went positive, I thought.
Yeah, but maybe they weren't positive enough. Because there were some older
Fans.
fans of the franchise who were not happy with the comedic tone of the film,
Very comedic.
which really makes me leery of this movie. I was very leery from the start, even more leery when I heard about the leaked script and the plot synopsis of that, and then when I started seeing a lot of the things that were in that script being confirmed by casting or by news, oh, they were trying to be like, no, it doesn't take place in the suburbs. And then they're like, yes, it does actually take place in the suburbs. And then there's a fucking kid who's cast, and in the script there's an autistic kid who figures out and deciphers the predator language and figures out how to use the gauntlet and the helmet and also remote controls a spaceship in the film at one point. Oh, when he dresses up in the helmet and the gauntlet, and it's so cute. And then he blows up somebody's house on Halloween. It's hilarious. We have in the script there's a scene where the predators use human weapons. They use machine guns. From the screening, I heard that that's the case too. There's a scene where predators use machine guns. In that same scene, one of the predators gets distracted by Olivia Munn's naked tits and ass, which I can't even believe that's even a possibility in a Predator movie. Like, it's bad enough to see a slasher scene in a shower in Alien Covenant. We're gonna do this with Predator. The Predator is the Predator gonna leer at Olivia Munn and be like, "Ah," whack off
I have a
on
feeling that
screen.
part won't. I have a feeling that won't be in the movie. But
Well, I mean, you never thought that in the Ninja Turtles reboot that Mikey was gonna be talking about how his shell is tightening when he saw April.
I'd give more leniency to Shane Black than Michael Bay.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
Michael Bay produced, but I
Shane
mean,
Black did Iron Man 3.
yeah, Iron Man 3 sucked, but I don't remember any stuff
No,
like that
no,
in Iron Man 3.
yeah, no.
But I do worry about it was comedic and it did have a kid trying to be funny or whatever the fuck he was trying to be. And this has a kid who looked like Jubilee from the X-Men in the pictures. And
Thomas Jane's
this,
not gonna do that much. I'm calling it.
no, he's not going to do much. He's going to be in the background. He's not one of the stars. The
One of the
cast doesn't.
stars is like the bad guy from Logan, who is one of the weakest things about that movie.
Boyd Holbrook, I think is his name. And was it T?
Yeah, Keegan
Key
Michael
and Peele?
Key.
Of Key and Peele.
I like
I
him,
don't.
but I don't know about him being in an action movie.
And then hearing about, well, predators rip out spines because human DNA and the
Fucking
predators and the humans going to
stupid.
join together to have a giant
This is
fight a giant predator.
is this like a 50-foot tall predator like the Alien and Independence Day
I don't
Resurgence,
know. They said
or
giant predator.
the baby in Honey I Blew Up the Kid? What? Giant predator. I
It'd be,
swear to God, if I
it'd
see
be,
a 50-foot tall predator in that movie, I'm gonna lose my shit. But from what I heard about what Fred Decker would have done if he did RoboCop 3 today, that doesn't seem like that's that far fetched.
well, you heard. I want to have a heart in RoboCop. If I only had a heart and yodeling.
Yeah, but I'm just saying RoboCop 3. If Fred Decker made that today, wasn't there something about he
Yeah, in
makes
the
the building
features
a
he said.
transformer?
Yeah, that's what he said in the interview of RoboCop 3.
I love
If he
you,
did that
Fred.
today,
Oh man. Mm. This film has the potential to be the death nail in the coffin of the Predator franchise. This film has the potential to be a film that is so bad that it will literally pull the franchise's spine right out of its ass.
well, you saw it with Prometheus Alien Covenant. That's Ridley Scott. People getting high in their suits or
But that's with
fucking
Prometheus and Alien Covenant with the whole fucking David.
DVD.
David the asshole android is the one that is behind everything. So they over-explain shit in those movies, and now they're over-explaining stuff with the Predator, with the whole they take spines out because they're trying to create some super predator with
That's funny. I thought they were taking spines out for trophies.
yeah.
That's all you really need.
It's simple, straightforward. We don't
Can't
need
have
to
simple.
over-explain it. Oh, and also apparently the Predators speak English.
Yeah,
No,
they don't speak fluent
I
English.
read a book by a pretty good author named Peter Shirley. I think that's his first name. John Shirley, actually, is his name. John Shirley. It
Just
was
don't call me Shirley.
it was called Predator Forever Midnight, and it was fucking awful. And one of the biggest problems: Predator speaking English.
And before people say, yes, we know they mimicked English and the others, but this is like fluent
Yeah, they're mimicking
English
it.
speaking. But in this is like they're speaking fluent English, like
Like they're fucking
me and
Klingons
Mike.
or some shit.
Yeah, yeah,
No.
Klingons. They will be Klingons. Because they're about honor and code as well, so
Yeah.
they're turning them to Klingons. There you go. Might as well be fucking Klingons then.
Yeah. Let's just take every bit of mystique away from the Predators. That's a great idea. That works out so well. Yeah.
They work so well in Prometheus. Hey, that thing in Alien and the pilot. Oh, it's a albino, bald-headed asshole.
Yeah. Oh, facehuggers and eggs. Oh, Davy Boy made them.
Apparently, there's some book that says, no, he didn't. You have
Oh,
to read the
oh,
book.
whatever. Fuck off. I have to read the book. The same people were defending Krampus. You need to read the book, sequel or prequel or whatever the fuck. If I have to do that, the movie failed. Shouldn't have to read some tie-in
Well,
to make sense out of your
yeah,
fucking script.
maybe you should not talk about fucking fluting.
Yeah.
Where where the hell the line was?
It was like a, you know,
I
I'll
forget
do
what
the
it was.
fingering and you blow or something
Yes,
like that.
I'll do the fingering you blow my balls, blow my ass. Movie.
Well, yeah, the whole ruining the mystique thing that works so well with Rob Zombie's Halloween. Oh, it's no longer just a kid who suddenly snaps and kills his parents because of some presence that takes over him that's unexplained. No, he had a typical shitty childhood like all these other serial killers, complete with an asshole dad who sweared all the time and was abusive. Oh, yeah, we needed to know the origin of Hannibal Lecter with Hannibal Rising. We needed to know the origins of Leatherface not once but two fucking times. The answer to all those questions is no. Hell no. We didn't need any of that. And we don't need explanations for any further explanations for why the predators take skulls and spinal cord columns from their victims. We don't, or their prey. We don't need that. We don't need to see the return of the stupid predator dogs from Predators and have one of them befriend the cast. We don't need a giant predator.
We don't need this movie at
We
all.
don't need this movie. I'll just stick with my Dark Horse comics. I wish they made a Predator 3 in the mid 90s with Danny Glover, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Jean Claude Van Damme have like this big, like the Expendables before the Expendables, and they're fighting off predators as they invade New York City.
I'll stick with the first two Predator movies.
That's a good thing too. I'll definitely stick with those as well, and my Dark Horse comics and the Dark Horse novels, except for Forever Midnight, which is terrible. Don't read that. Don't. Just don't do it.